Once upon a time, 150 years ago, lived a man named Franjo Pokorny, a chemist who made the oldest bitter liqueur in Croatia. Today, it is known by its original traditional recipe, natural ingredients, and unchanged name, Pelinkovac. So Franjo took our journalist Violetta Teetor on an amazing journey through time and showed her Zagreb, the capital city of Croatia, and explained why his name lives until today. The old carriage took them through the center of Zagreb, passing by the Zagreb Cathedral on Capitol, up to the upper town and the Zagreb City Museum, where our amazing story begins.
Today we're at the Zagreb City Museum with Zrinka, who is the curator of the old packaging section of this museum. Zrinka, I see that there is this man, Dr. Ante Rodin. Can you tell us something about the passion that he had for packaging?
Dr. Ante Rodin dedicated his entire life to packaging. In more than 3 decades, he compiled a large collection of old packaging and donated it to the Zagreb City Museum in 2001. His collection is now a part of the museum's permanent exhibition. The collection is very complete, distinct and diversified, since it comprises many different types of packaging, from packaging for alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages to packaging for different household items, confectionery, medicines and cosmetics.
We have a lot of bottles here, and they're all kinds, in all shapes and forms, with lots of labels on them. Some in glass, some in ceramic up here. But the one we really want to focus on is the Pelinkovac bottle, which is this very old bottle standing here, very beautiful and beautifully shaped. So Badel is one big family of alcoholic, not alcoholic, but liquor producing companies. It makes me, actually gives me some goosebumps just to stand amongst all these bottles. Thank you. Thank you. smells quite good. Don't know what to expect. Yummy. Badel, 1862. And we're actually standing in a building that is 150 years old, not somewhere out in the countryside, but in the middle of Zagreb, Croatia. And here we have the very eminent master blender for all these bottles that surround us here. And you can believe this or not, but some of these bottles are actually also 150 years old. Vesna, it's very nice to meet you, and thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us something about being a master blender for this amazing company?
Welcome to Badel.
We are now inside the Badel 1862 cellar, where production started thanks to Mr. Pokorny, who was one of the founders of Badel 1862. We are surrounded by bottles of the liquor he started producing 150 years ago. Nowadays, all these beverages can be found in different markets around the globe.
Well, the product that we're focusing on today is amazing. It's called Pelinkovac, and it's been around for, guess what, 150 years. And Pelinkovac was actually invented or brought about by the founder of this company called Franjo Pokorny. Tell me a little bit about Pelinkovac. What is it made of?
Pelinkovac is one of our most famous products. It is a liquor of which we are very proud of. It is produced exclusively from autochthonous herbs that grow on Velebit Mountain and in the Mediterranean area. The liquor contains carefully selected and non-treated herbs that give a very characteristic taste to this product. The product owes its very specific aroma to the aromatic herb Artemisia absinthium, or Pelin in Croatian language, after which Pelinkovac got its name. Our Badel Pelinkovac is a well-known liquor in many markets due to the fact that it is very specific in taste, a result of balancing various herbs, dominated by the taste of Pelin. The final result is a very distinctive taste, both bitter and sweet.
And I believe 2007 was a very important year for this company. What actually happened in 2007? Did you bring out any new products by any chance?
Yes.
We have created a special edition of Pelinkovac for the 145th anniversary of Badel. Since Mr. Pokorny had a number of different recipes on which we had worked until he created the original recipe, we decided to take one of them and reproduce it. This replica of the genuine bottle and the label nowadays is present on the market as Pelinkovac Antique. The label shows what Pelinkovac truly is, a traditional herbal liquor. Franjo Pokorny was proud of Pelinkovac. His liquor was served in royal courts at that time, in Vienna and at the court of Napoleon III, and received a lot of medals for quality back in those times.
And for a company like Badel that is 150 years old and that's been going from strength to strength, can you maybe fill us in on the history of this amazing company?
The Badel company is a successor of many different companies. Pokorny was a founder of a small trade that later on grew into a factory. In the beginning, he produced liquors and then distillates made of fruits from this region. Aiming to strengthen the company, he partnered with the Arco family, which produced barrels. Their partnership resulted in a product called, in those days, brandy medicinalis, sold even in pharmacies.
Gospodinom Arkom napravio je poznati brandy medicinalis koji se prodavao čak u ljekarnama.
And one question I really want to know, how much has taste changed over the years? Are you making some products now that are completely different? You know, for instance, because some people might, people might prefer sweeter products today than they did in those days. I don't know.
Što se tiče samog...
Over the time, the characteristic taste has been entirely preserved. 100 years ago, we used to produce two kinds of Pelinkovac, both bitter and sweet, and today's Badel Pelinkovac is a bitter-sweet symphony.
Malo gorči tip, ali opet ne ni slatki ni gorki, nešto između.
Well, I look forward to seeing the production plant. I notice on the walls here we have several pictures, and on these two bottles over here it mentions the name Arco. So was Arco a family, obviously a company, but also a family? And did they live here?
Yes. Obitelj Arko je ovdje i živjela, znači...
This place used to be the residence of the Arco family. The premises did not only serve as their residence, but were also a place for production and distribution, and as well their living room. There is an interesting story about the cellar. It was the place where barrels were kept, but it was so cold that ice was forming inside of them, so they decided to distribute ice to various pools on the Sava River in summertime.
Amazing. So huge production happening in this space here, or on these premises at least. But we know that Pelinkovac was actually a drink of the royals. Kings and queens drank Pelinkovac. Can you tell me, did they actually entertain in this space as well? Did they have some, really famous people coming here to enjoy the wonderful beverages that you were producing?
Pa vjerojatno jesu, vjerojatno je postojala...
They probably did, very likely. There was some kind of a tasting room where they tasted those products because Pelin became known all over the world. At the time, Pelinkovac was marketed as a drink enjoyed both by gentlemen and connoisseurs.
Uživaju gospoda i znalci.
And I'm one of those, or I'm going to become one of those. Can you tell us something about the production, because we are going to visit the production plant this afternoon. Where do you grow the herbs?
Znači, što se tiče same proizvodnje, to ćemo vidjeti na licu mjesta.
We will have the opportunity to visit the premises where production of Pelinkovac takes place. We are purchasing herbs only from our region, especially from untouched zones on Velebit and Paklenica mountains. But if it is not possible to procure enough herbs in Croatia, we look only at the Mediterranean markets. We are only interested in and are using only wild plants, not cultivated.
Well, let's go to the plant. Now we've had a little change of costume here, these sexy outfits, because we're all chemists right now. We're in this wonderful building where they make this wonderful liquor called Pelinkovac. So we have a sack here, and when they opened the sack, it just filled the air with this fume, which actually gets right into your nostrils. So tell us, what is in this sack?
Ovdje se nalazi trava.
Here we can see different herbs and aromatic plants. Here you have pelin, wormwood. This is the very essence for the production of Pelinkovac. Our liquor got its name after the curative herb pelin.
Sam Pelinkovac nosi ime.
But also, this is not the only thing that goes into Pelinkovac. We've got lots of other herbs, 30 different kinds. Can you just elaborate a little bit? Can you tell us some of the secrets of the blend?
Da, u proizvodnji Pelinkovac...
For the production of Pelinkovac, we do not only use pelin, we use also other plants, as we can see here: gentian, inula, melissa, lavender, sage, etc. And just as you have said, that is a specific feature of our product and our business secret.
And what do you do with these herbs after, you've got them in these sacks from everywhere? What is the process? What happens now?
When the plants arrive, we have to make a chemical analysis in order to see if they meet all health and safety standards. We also do checks on pesticides and other pollutants. The next step is the process of maceration.
And we talked about maceration a little bit before, but can you just explain to us what it really means? What does maceration really mean?
Maceration is a process during which we take those plants and sink them in ethanol of a certain concentration during a certain period of time to extract all those aromatic components and essential oils and obtain a very specific essence that is later on used in the production of Pelinkovac.
And alcohol, we all think of alcohol as being alcohol, but are there different sort of grades and levels of alcohol?
It is important to say that we use only top quality grain alcohol. This is why it has better quality than the alcohol obtained from molasses, which often contains admixtures. This is also very important in Badel Pelinkovac's creation process.
Well, I think we can move on from here and see what happens next. And before we go on, let me just see what this is like. Oh, this is like sand almost. It's got a very special smell to it, but anyway, I'm told I shouldn't be eating it. Maybe certainly not in this quantity, otherwise I'll be flying out of here. And we're standing in front of a really old, what shall we call it, an old man or an old woman here that dates back to 1921. And I believe it's the third oldest still in the world. Is that so?
Yes.
This pot still was made in Germany in 1921 in a very small production, and it is one of the 3 oldest pot stills in the world. It is made of copper, and inside it is covered with tin. Here inside you can see some plant residue, so plants and herbs used in the production make layers, and that is what is also important to create a very specific aroma of the distillate. And therefore, I guess Pelinkovac's Antique was made in this one, is that right?
Yes.
Pelinkovac Antique is also distilled in this pot still, but the recipe is somewhat different from the one used for the standard Pelinkovac Gorki, bitter. The major difference is in the combination of herbs used, but Pelin is dominant in both products.
Well, fantastic product, and thank you for showing us around. It was really interesting to be in an alcohol factory like this to see how it's all happening.
Our story finishes in the center of Zagreb. It is amazing how this old drink lives up until today with unchanged quality, natural ingredients, and traditional recipe. Nowadays, it is just slightly modified to give 3 different flavors. Gorki, or the bitter one, orange, a novelty with added orange juice to the bitter one, and the limited edition Antique, as an honor to the importance of Pelinkovac for Badel and the Croatian spirits in general. Violetta says she loved the bitter one the most. How about you?